There are cities that rise from rivers, and then there is Edinburgh, a city that rises from stone. Long before its streets were carved, before crowns and cannons, before parliaments and poets, there was only a volcanic rock standing against the wind. Castle Rock, ancient, silent, watching. From this height you can see the sea, the hills, the shifting skies of Scotland. It was never just a view, it was a warning. Whoever held this rock held the land. Warriors built here, kings fortified here, enemies besieged here. Edinburgh was not born gently, it was carved by conflict. Flames once rose against these stones, banners once fell from these walls, and steel once echoed through its narrow closes. Yet beneath the clash of swords, another city was growing. A city of thought, a city of faith, a city of stubborn endurance. From medieval fortresses to Enlightenment salons, Edinburgh would become more than a stronghold. It would become an idea. Writers walked these streets, philosophers debated beneath candlelight, reformers challenged power from within its shadowed chambers. This is a city where stone meets sky, where wind carries stories older than memory. Its old town climbs upward in defiance, narrow and vertical, layered like the pages of history itself. Its new town stretches outward in symmetry, measured, a deliberate, confident. Two worlds in one city, medieval and modern, fortress and philosophy. In winter, mist rolls through its closes like something ancient returning. In summer, light lingers late across its stone facades, and Edinburgh does not shout. It stands. It remembers. And it endures. This is not just a capital, it is a monument carved from earth itself. This is Edinburgh. Before there was a city, there was a rock. Long before Edinburgh carried a name, Castle Rock rose from the earth, a volcanic spine of stones standing against the northern winds. It was not built. It was forged, shaped by fire beneath the surface, hardened by time, carved by ice and storm. From its summit, the land stretches in every direction. Hills to the south, water to the north, open sky above. This was not just high ground. It was survival. By the first millennium, BCE, people had begun to gather here, tribes who understood what height meant. The Votadini, warriors of the north. They built an Iron Age hill fort atop this rock, encircling it with timber walls and earthworks. Below, small settlements formed, round houses of wood and thatch clustered for protection. Smoke rose into the cold air. From here they could see danger coming, and danger often came. In the 2nd century CE, Rome pushed north. Legions crossed into Britain, building roads and forts, stretching their empire toward the edge of the known world. But this rock was never easily taken. The land was harsh. The people were harder. Roman forces established forts nearby, but Castle Rock remained a symbol of resistance, a frontier between empire and independence. As Rome retreated in the early 5th century, new kingdoms rose from the fragments of its power. The settlement here became known as Din Aidin, a name rooted in ancient Brythonic language, Fort of Aidin, a fortress above the land. From this height, watchfires once burned. From this height, leaders once stood. From this height, a future city quietly waited. There were no cathedrals yet, no royal palaces, no stone walls towering over the skyline. Only timber, earth, fire, wind, but everything that would come after. Every battle, every crown, every rebellion began here, on a rock older than memory.